1. Introduction. The invisible power of the masses. Imagine standing in a vast public square. In front of you, thousands of people are shouting, raising banners, chanting the same slogan in unison. You never thought you'd join them, but somehow, your feet start moving, your mouth begins echoing their words. In that moment, you're no longer entirely you. You become part of something larger, a collective body. And at that exact point, your personal will begins to fade. This phenomenon is not new. It has been observed, studied, and named crowd psychology, also called herd behavior. It is one of the most powerful social psychological forces affecting everyone, from passionate sports fans to stock market investors to participants in historic riots. 2. Origins and research. History crowd psychology began attracting serious attention in the late 19th century when researchers noticed that people behave very differently in groups compared to when they are alone. One of the foundational works is La Psychologie des Foules, 1895, by French sociologist Gustave Le Bon. He argued that in a crowd, individuals lose rationality, become emotional, and are driven by the group's collective energy. Le Bon described the crowd as a separate organism, with a mind and actions no longer belonging to each individual. Later, figures like Sigmund Freud and Elias Canetti expanded on the concept. Freud emphasized the role of the unconscious. In a crowd, moral restraints and social norms are weakened, allowing people to commit acts they wouldn't normally consider alone. In the 20th century, famous psychology experiments such as the Milgram experiment, 1961, and the Stanford Prison experiment, 1971, revealed the extent to which people can be influenced by authority, roles, and the collective. While not always focused on crowds in the physical sense, these studies illustrated how social environments and group psychology can dramatically alter individual behavior. 3. The psychological mechanisms behind the crowd effect. Why are humans so easily swept along by the masses? Psychologists have identified several core mechanisms. 1. De-individuation. When you blend into a crowd, you become anonymous. This anonymity reduces your sense of personal responsibility, making you less afraid of judgment or punishment. This explains why, during riots, people may vandalize or loot, acts they would never commit alone. 2. Conformity. Humans are inherently social. We tend to agree with the group to gain acceptance and avoid isolation. Solomon Asch's 1951 experiment demonstrated this. When a group intentionally gave the wrong answer to a simple test, most participants followed suit despite knowing the correct answer. 3. Emotional contagion. Emotions spread rapidly in crowds. An excited crowd can make you feel euphoric, while a panicked crowd can amplify your fear many times over. 4th, groupthink. When a group shares the same beliefs or goals, they are more likely to ignore dissenting opinions, leading to poor decisions. Groupthink contributed to major disasters, such as the Challenger space shuttle explosion in 1986, when NASA engineers didn't push back strongly enough against launching, despite knowing the risks. 4. Positive and negative impacts. The crowd effect isn't always bad. It can create enormous communal strength. Positive, rapidly mobilizing resources for disaster relief, fostering solidarity and positive social movements, e.g. environmental protection campaigns, boosting creativity and cooperation when teams work well together. Negative, fueling riots, violence, and destruction, triggering mass panic, e.g. deadly stampedes at concerts, encouraging irrational decisions driven more by emotion than reason. 5. Real-world examples. Mina Stampede, 2015. Over 2,000 people died during a massive crush at the Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. Dot-com bubble, 1997 to 2000. Investors poured money into tech stocks without considering real value, simply because everyone was buying. Arab Spring, 2010 to 2012. Social media and crowd effects fueled a wave of protests that toppled governments across multiple countries. 6. How to recognize when you're being influenced. You act simply because everyone else is doing it. You find it hard to stop even if you have doubts. You feel your responsibility is shared and that you won't face personal consequences. 7. Strategies to keep your personal will. 1. Pause and think. Ask yourself, if I were alone, would I do this? 2. Seek independent information. Don't rely solely on sources your group uses. 3. Practice critical thinking. Ask, is there evidence for this? Maintain distance. If a crowd is becoming too agitated, take a few steps back, literally and figuratively. 8. Conclusion. The crowd effect is a natural and powerful phenomenon. It can unite and inspire us, but it can also turn us into mere echoes of the collective, silencing our individual voices. In today's hyper-connected world, the ability to hold on to your personal will is your shield against the waves of collective emotion. When you find yourself swept along with the crowd, remember, the majority is not always right, and the crowd will not take responsibility for you.